train as a rifleman. The concept has been around since the Marine Corps inception in 1775, when every man who would volunteer was required to bring his own musket. In the early 1900s, as the Marine Corps grew and additional military occupations were created, then Commandant General John A. Lejeune ensured that every Marine, regardless of his MOS, received marksmanship training. During the Korean War, the Marine Corps was the only service to create rifle companies entirely of cooks, drivers, and other non-infantry Marines. From this war, the proverbial saying, "Every Marine is a rifleman," was born. In the 1980s, then Commandant General Alfred M. Gray recognized the need to train all Marines in more than just basic marksmanship and all modern-day combat skills. The School of Infantry was assigned to conduct this training, known as Common Skills, because it is common to every Marine. These skills allow every Marine, regardless of MOS, to act as a rifleman when called upon. Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding officer of the Marine Combat Training Battalion is Lieutenant Colonel Philip N. Ash, and the Battalion Sergeant Major is Sergeant Major Andrew R. Gould. Ladies and gentlemen, ceremony is First Platoon. They are led by their platoon sergeant, Staff Sergeant Walter. The platoon commander is Staff Sergeant Prosper. Based on First Platoon's performance, teamwork, and dedication to duty, they are selected as Honor Platoon for today's graduation ceremony.
Nice job.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation given by Lieutenant Garrett Pollard, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy.
Gracious and loving God, maker of all good things, we come here today to honor these young men who have worked so diligently through the course of their training. We thank you for your presence among us and ask your blessing on all that you see here today. The young men standing before us have met and overcome many challenges in the last 4 weeks, and in so doing they have proven themselves equal to anything they will face in the future. And now as they go on to new adventures, may your wisdom guide their steps, your hand rest upon them and lend them your strength, and your spirit speak peace to them. Bless and keep them as they take their place as sentinels of freedom, defending hearth and home from all who would seek to do us harm. And bless also those they defend, not only their families, but even the strangers who will never know their names, that they may rest easy knowing that these young men stand ready and able to face and defeat any adversary. All these things we ask, O Lord, for your name's sake and for your everlasting glory. Amen.
It is located directly behind the Marines on the parade deck. It is customary that all hats are removed and that your right hand be placed over your heart during the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Can you hear me down there at the ends? Okay. Colonel Williams, Lieutenant Colonel Ash, Sergeant Major, Gunner. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance today. On behalf of the School of Infantry West and Marine Combat Training Battalion, welcome to our graduation. Before I go any further, I would like to ask any current or former serving members of the military to please stand if able. Now, if not for the example of those of you who are currently standing, many of the Marines standing on this parade deck, to include my combat instructors and myself, would not be here today. So I'd like to thank you for that, and thank you for your service. And the basic skills, the basic infantry skills that will ensure their success on future battlefields. For those of you who attended the parents' brief, you've heard this before. For those of you who have not, we're here in the Marine Corps, and particularly in Marine Combat Training Battalion, take a great amount of pride in the fact that the Marine Corps is the only major military service in the world that trains 100% of its personnel on basic infantry skills, regardless of MOS. Now, over the past decade and a half, there's been a lot said about the 21st century battlefield, about the 360-degree battlefield, thrusting those with non-traditional combat MOSs into harm's way for the first time. However, as Marines, looking toward our history, back to campaigns such as the Guadalcanal campaign in World War II, the Chosin Reservoir in Korea, or the defense of Quezon in Vietnam, we understand that that's not the case. Our mindset has been framed that you need to be ready at any moment to pick up your weapon. And the Marines that you see standing here on the parade deck are the next generation of that ideology, that every Marine is a rifleman. To that end, during their month with Kilo Company, they've been sustained and trained in a wide variety of infantry tasks and skills. They've done everything from communicate on a radio, conduct land navigation. They've They've performed trauma care under fire. They've patrolled, dug into a defense, conducted deliberate offensive operations. They've conducted weapons training on the M16 from everywhere from 5 meters to 500 meters. They fired the M203 grenade launcher, the M240 medium machine gun, and they've thrown a live M67 fragmentation grenade. If you haven't had the opportunity, I encourage you after our ceremony to please come up to the reviewing stand and get your hands on all of the gear that they've used throughout their time here. Staff Sergeant Wenby will be on hand to answer any questions you may have. Now, during all the training, I've just listened to the variety of military occupational specialties that you're going to hear read. And think about what I've told you about the next generation of Marines of every MOS ready to pick up a rifle. And you'll understand that we truly, truly believe in the every Marine or Rifleman concept here at MCT. Also understand that I am as proud of the work that they have put in this cycle during the last one as I am with the graduating Marines. On that note, I'd like to take an opportunity to address Kilo Company 21 TAC 15 for the last time.
Gentlemen, you've risen to every challenge and met every demand that I have made of you for the past month. Most importantly, you've met my demand that you take care of each other. Evidence of this is the fact that of the 346 Marines who trained with Kilo Company this cycle, 3 parade day. You've taken care of each other, you've looked after each other, you've been professionals, and you've been Marines. I have one more demand to make of you before you get out of here. And that is, as you move on to your MOS schools, as you move on to the Fleet Marine courses, where inherently your focus will become less and less on the infantry tasks that you learn here. I make a demand that you remember what you've learned. You carry it forward with you, and you never forget your obligation to the Marines standing to your left and right now. It is not I, nor God, or any other man can tell you whether the next time you'll be asked to execute the skills you've learned here will be in combat, with incoming rounds, and the Marines to your left and right, their life on the line. Gentlemen, congratulations. Senator Pendleton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for your attendance and support of these Marines. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at Marine Combat Training Battalion. Rock.
Take your post. Personnel to receive award. Front and center. March.
At Marine Combat Training Battalion, the battalion commander is authorized to recognize the one student who has demonstrated superior performance and exceptional leadership ability by designating him as the company honorman. Today's honorman will receive a certificate of commendation from the battalion commander. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause until all honor graduates have received their awards. United States Marine Corps, Certificate of Commendation. The commanding officer of Marine Combat Training Battalion takes pleasure in commending Lance Corporal Clayton M. Howard for superior performance while undergoing Marine Combat Training from 5 May 2015 to 2 June 2015 at Kilo Company, Marine Combat Training Battalion, School of Infantry West, Camp Pendleton, California. Throughout this challenge, demonstrated extraordinary performance of duties during all phases of academic and practical application training. In recognition of his accomplishments, Lance Corporal Howard was selected as the company ornament, the only Marine selected in a company of 346 Marines. Lance Corporal Howard's dedication to the Marine Corps and his fellow Marines reflects great credit upon him and is in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps. Signed, P.N. Ash, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Marine Corps, Command. Lance Corporal Howard hails from San Antonio, Texas. His MOS is 0621, Field Radio Operator. He will be attending school in 29 Palms, California. In addition to the company ornament, we would like to recognize the Marines that excel in academics and the Ironman for the company. United States Marine Corps, Private First Class Christopher J. Ruaboro, was on the 2nd day of June 2015 the subject of a meritorious mass conducted by the commanding officer, Marine Combat Training Battalion, School of Infantry West, Camp Pendleton, California, for outstanding service as follows. During the period from 5 May 2015 to 2 June 2015, while serving as a student, Kilo Company, Marine Combat Training Battalion, you consistently perform your duties in an exemplary and highly professional manner by scoring higher on the written test and on the performance evaluations than any of your peers, making you the academic leader for the company with an overall average of 99.21%. Your devotion to duty and tireless efforts reflected great credit upon you and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps. PFC Ruaboro hails from Lihue, Hawaii. His MOS is 6842, Meteorology and Oceanography Analyst. He will be attending school in Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi. United States Marine Corps, Private First Class Joshua J. Sand, was on the 2nd day of June 2015 the subject of a meritorious mass conducted by the commanding officer, Marine Combat Training Battalion, School of Infantry West, Camp Pendleton, California, for outstanding service as follows. During the period from 5 May 2015 to 2 June 2015, while serving as a student, Kilo Company, Marine Combat Training Battalion, you consistently perform your duties in an exemplary and highly professional manner. You have been named the Company Ironman based on your performance during a competition of strength, endurance, and intelligence. Your professionalism and dedication to duty reflected credit upon you and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps. Signed, P.N. Ash, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Marine Corps, Command. PFC Sand hails from San Francisco, California. His MOS is 1345, Engineer Equipment Operator. He will be attending school in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. At this time, we would like to recognize the Gung Ho Award recipients for Kilo Company, Marine Combat Training Battalion. Recognizes those Marines whose motivation and dedication have served as an inspiration to their fellow Marines throughout this physically and mentally challenging training cycle. Whether it is on a forced march, on patrol, or just conducting field day, these Marines can be expected to give 100% effort. These Marines will also be receiving meritorious mass. The Marine from Miguel Herrera. The Marine from 2nd Platoon is Private Anthony L. Bells. The Marine from 3rd Platoon is PFC Jake A. Fuller. The Marine from 4th Platoon is PFC Nicholas R. Ramsey. We would also like to recognize those Marines who received a certificate of appreciation. These Marines were recognized based on the devotion to duty and small unit leadership that they displayed throughout the training cycle as a student in Marine Combat Training Battalion. The Marines from 1st Platoon are Private Barron, PFC Whitecheck, PFC Richard. The Marines from 2nd Platoon are PFC Hayduck, PFC Chancho, PFC Holden. The Marines from 3rd Platoon are PFC Bishop, PFC McMahon, PFC Dockland. The Marines from 4th Platoon are Private Solis, PFC Gaxiola Jr., PFC Mittman. Ladies and gentlemen, please join Please join us in applauding the recipients for Company K. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would like to introduce the leaders most responsible for the successful combat training of your Marines. The company guide on bearer you see before you today is Sergeant Flores Perez, military occupation 6072, ground support equipment technician. His devotion to duty and desire to succeed have led him to be named the instructor of the cycle for Company K. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for his devotion to country, corps, and fellow Marines. Combat instructors for Company K. Please hold your applause until all remaining instructors have been introduced. The platoon commander for 1st Platoon is Staff Sergeant Crossman, 0369, Infantry Unit Leader. He is assisted in his duties by Staff Sergeant Walter, 6469, Advanced and Consolidated Automatic Support System Technician. Staff Sergeant Bell, 0369, Infantry Unit Leader. Sergeant Sambo, 6114, Cobra and Hewitt Helicopter Mechanic. The platoon commander for 2nd Platoon is Sergeant Rhodes, 0311, Infantry Rifleman. He is assisted in his duties by Sergeant Lanuzzo, 0311, Infantry Rifleman. Sergeant King, 0311, Infantry Rifleman. Corporal Tiny, 0311, Infantry Rifleman. The platoon commander for 3rd Platoon is Sergeant McClure, 5811, Military Police. He is assisted in his duties by Sergeant Camacho, 0311, Infantry Rifleman. Sergeant Perez, 0811, Field Artillery Cannoneer. Sergeant Anderson, 3531, Motor Vehicle Operator. The platoon commander for 4th Platoon is Staff Sergeant Golden, 0369, Infantry Unit Leader. He is assisted in his duties by Staff Sergeant Miller, 0629, Radio Chief. Sergeant Velasquez, 0241, Imagery Intelligence Analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in applauding the efforts of the combat instructors and permanent personnel of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remain standing for the playing of Acres Away, the Marines Hymn, and the final completion of today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the graduation ceremony.